Wednesday afternoon in 2010, a woman sits in her car outside a massage spa in Atlanta. She's watching as a well-dressed man enters the building. Online, he's known as one of America's most respected Christian apologists. In person, he's about to engage in behavior that would shock millions of his followers worldwide. This wasn't just any religious leader. This was Ravi Zacharias, a man who had spoken in front of presidents, built a global ministry, and was trusted by millions to defend the Christian faith. But behind closed doors, a very different story was unfolding. One that would eventually expose not just Zacharias, but an entire world of megachurch leaders living double lives. From private jets to multi-million-dollar mansions, from sexual abuse to financial fraud. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the secret lives of megachurch millionaires. The stories you're about to hear have been meticulously documented, but many followers still refuse to believe them. How do religious leaders who preach humility and sacrifice end up with fortunes that rival corporate CEOs? And how do they maintain their power even when caught in shocking scandals? This is the story of faith, power, money, and deception at the highest levels of American religion. Megachurches are defined as Protestant congregations with regular weekly attendance of 2,000 or more. In America, they've become spiritual powerhouses, with some hosting over 50,000 members each Sunday. But they've also become something else: massive financial enterprises. Take Lakewood Church in Houston, led by Joel Osteen. The church operates from a former sports arena that seats 16,800 people. Osteen himself lives in a $10.5 million mansion and has an estimated net worth of $100 million. All while preaching the prosperity gospel that suggests God rewards faith with financial success. But Osteen is far from alone. Creflo Dollar, whose very name seems prophetic, once asked his congregation to fund a $65 million private jet. Kenneth Copeland owns a $20 million jet and lives on a 1,500-acre campus near Fort Worth, Texas. The question isn't whether these pastors are wealthy. They undeniably are. The question is, where does this money come from? And is it being used in ways that align with the teachings they preach? Many of these churches operate with minimal financial transparency. Unlike traditional denominations that often have financial oversight boards, many megachurches are independent entities controlled by the pastor and a small group of loyal elders or board members. As former megachurch pastor Kirby John Caldwell once said before his own fall from grace, the church should be a beacon of light and hope. Caldwell, who once served as a spiritual advisor to Presidents Barack Obama and George W. Bush, would later be sentenced to 6 years in prison for defrauding investors in a multi-million-dollar scheme. But before we dive deeper into these financial scandals, we need to understand how these empires are built in the first place. The modern megachurch isn't just a place of worship, it's a sophisticated enterprise with multiple revenue streams. Beyond the traditional Sunday morning offering plate, these organizations have developed complex business models. Many operate bookstores, coffee shops, and gift shops on their campuses. They sell merchandise, books written by the pastor, and online content. They run conferences, seminars, and leadership training programs. Some even have their own record labels, publishing houses, and television networks. Take Bill Hybels, founder of Willow Creek Community Church near Chicago. Under his leadership, Willow Creek grew to over 25,000 weekly attendees and developed the Willow Creek Association, a network of thousands of churches worldwide that pay for leadership training and resources. Hybels built an empire that extended far beyond his Chicago area campus. But in 2018, multiple women came forward with allegations of sexual harassment against him, leading to his resignation and the entire church board stepping down. As one former church elder stated during the scandal, "We, as a board, know Willow needs and deserves a fresh start, and the entire board will step down to create room for a new board." The pattern repeats itself across the megachurch landscape. A charismatic leader builds a following, expands into multiple ventures, accumulates significant wealth, and often operates with minimal accountability, until something goes wrong. James McDonald of Harvest Bible Chapel in Chicago followed a similar trajectory. He built a church of 13,000 attendees across 7 locations affiliated with the Southern Baptist Convention, and acquired a massive evangelical following through his books, Bible studies, and Walk in the Word radio program. But behind the scenes, McDonald was allegedly creating a toxic leadership environment and misusing church funds. In 2019, he was fired after recordings emerged of him making inappropriate comments. Perhaps no case better illustrates the double life phenomenon than that of Ravi Zacharias. For decades, he was regarded as Christianity's premier intellectual defender, speaking at prestigious universities and writing best-selling books. After his death in 2020, an investigation revealed that Zacharias had sexually abused multiple women at massage spas he owned, solicited explicit photos from young women around the world, and used ministry funds to pay for massage therapists who later alleged sexual abuse. One woman told investigators that after he arranged for the ministry to provide her with financial support, he required sex from her. Zacharias allegedly made her pray with him to thank God for the opportunity they both received, and called her his reward for living a life of service to God. Ew. Daniel Gilman, a former employee at Ravi Zacharias International Ministries, later spoke about the culture that enabled such abuse. Every single one of us can find ourselves not living up to our own convictions. Those who are able to maintain their wholesomeness will always only ever be people who people can ask them like really tough questions and hold them accountable. The pattern extends beyond American borders. In Singapore, Kong Hee, founder of City Harvest Church, was found guilty of misappropriating $35.5 million in church donations to support his wife's singing career. As one BBC reporter noted, she had 4 number 1s on the Billboard dance charts. But what people say is that obviously you can buy that kind of musical support by funding the airplay on the American music chart. Behind these scandals are real victims, both financial and sexual. The stories are heartbreaking. In the case of La Luz del Mundo Church, leader Nason Joaquin Garcia was sentenced to nearly 17 years in prison for sexually abusing young girls in his church. One victim testified, "I went from being an innocent virgin to experiencing the most violent, revolting treatment ever." Eddie Long, pastor of New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Georgia, faced accusations from multiple young men who claimed he exploited them. One accuser, Jamal Paris, stated, "I cannot get the sound of his voice out of my head, and I cannot forget the smell of his cologne, and I cannot forget the way he made me cry many nights when I drove in his cars on the way home, not able to take enough showers to wipe the smell of him off of my body." Paris added, "That's not a father, that's a predator." Financial victims often remain anonymous, but their losses are no less real. When Kirby John Caldwell was sentenced for wire fraud, court papers showed he and his investment advisor sold nearly $3.5 million in worthless pre-revolutionary Chinese bonds to the elderly and other vulnerable investors. How do these abuses continue for so long without detection? The answer lies in the structure of many megachurches, which often lack the accountability mechanisms found in traditional denominations. When allegations against Harvest Bible Chapel's James McDonald first surfaced, the Evangelical Council for Financial Accountability, or ECFA, suspended the church's accreditation. The ECFA cited concerns that the church may have violated standards requiring responsible governance, accurate financial statements, and appropriate management controls. Former Willow Creek pastor Bill Hybels faced multiple allegations of sexual misconduct, leading to an independent investigation. The report concluded the allegations of sexually inappropriate words and actions by Bill Hybels are credible. The investigation also found that Hybels initiated mentoring relationships with female staffers who later accused him of sexual misconduct. In many cases, the very structure of these organizations enables misconduct, as Daniel Gilman noted about Ravi Zacharias International Ministries. What happens after these scandals break? The patterns are remarkably consistent. Some leaders, like Ravi Zacharias, die before facing full accountability. Others, like Nason Joaquin Garcia and Kirby John Caldwell, face criminal charges and prison time. In some cases, churches implement reforms, After the Hybel scandal, Willow Creek's entire elder board resigned, stating, "We realize this has taken too long and left you, our congregation, wondering why we didn't respond. We are truly repentant." But often, loyal followers continue to support disgraced leaders. When Hong Lee was charged in Singapore, a reporter noted, "On Twitter and Facebook, there have been lots of messages of support." Even after Nason Joaquin Garcia pleaded guilty to sexually abusing minors, his church announced, "We will wait for you, Apostle." One victim advocate responded, "They don't understand that this is not an organized religion. This is an organized institution of criminal activities." In the case of Apollo Kibaloy, even after being placed on the FBI's most wanted list for sex trafficking, he maintained significant political influence in the Philippines as a political kingmaker who backed former President Rodrigo Duterte. As we've journeyed through these troubling stories of megachurch scandals, remember that they represent just the tip of a much larger iceberg. These cases force us to confront difficult questions about power dynamics, accountability structures, and the increasing commercialization of faith in our modern world. These cases force us to confront difficult questions about power dynamics, accountability structures, and the increasing commercialization of faith in our modern world. The statistics shared by Dan Gilman are truly heartbreaking. About 1 out of every 3 girls in Canada is sexually abused by her 18th birthday. And those numbers are true just as much within the churches as outside of the church. This isn't just a church problem. It's a human problem that requires all of us to become part of the solution. For those within religious communities, the challenge is clear. Create genuine accountability where no leader stands beyond questioning. Financial transparency becomes the standard. Victims' voices are heard, believed, and protected. For those observing from outside, let these stories serve as powerful reminders that charisma and claims of divine authority can never replace true character and integrity. It's crucial to note that not all megachurches or their leaders have fallen into these traps. Many are doing remarkable work in their communities, creating positive change and authentic spiritual environments, as leaders like Josh Howerton have demonstrated here. If you found value in this exploration of faith, power, and accountability, I'd love to have you join our growing community. By subscribing, you'll help us continue creating content that examines these critical issues with nuance and depth. Your shares help these important conversations reach those who might benefit most from them, so please share, like, and subscribe. By doing so, you are helping us to continue bringing high-quality content to all of you moving forward.